Talk up, yeah. Welcome to Detroit, the Motor City streets, where the legends rise and the heartbeats meet. Podcast spinning tales of the 313.
Relative, relevant, who knows?
Who gives a shit?
Green jacket,
Well,
gold
welcome.
jacket.
Welcome, boys.
Welcome.
Welcome.
It's all three of us.
Benvenido.
Back
We
in
got
the
a
saddle
nice-
again.
A nice chilly evening to sit here and talk about postseason football. And I know we're ready for the draft talk, but, Hitch, you and I were talking mock drafts, but this is still, we're still in such gossip time right now. I started looking online to even try to formulate some type of strategy and plan. And I mean, starting with free agency, and we can talk about that. And let's start with cap space too. Two different situations, right? We have a lot of cap space, and I'm really not blown away by what's out there in free agency. So, what do you want to talk about tonight?
Well, before you jumped on, Wayne and I were just kind of chatting a little bit about what you just said. It's also speculative right now. There's plenty of names we can throw out there, but I mean, teams haven't even decided yet who they're cutting down, who they're keeping. There's guys that aren't listed in the projected top 100 that'll somehow be a cap casualty or something. So I think we can have a lot of fun speculating, just like everybody else is.
Yep.
We were talking
Let's
about
have a
it
little
being
wish list.
Yeah, a wish list is a good idea. We were talking about Wayne and I were just chatting about it being hard, especially at this stage of the game before the combine, to really kind of zero in on anybody that we like, because who the hell knows who's going to slide, who's going to be overdrafted at 28, 29, 30. It's all speculation.
Speculation's right, because I'm thinking to myself, I'm already going round 2, round 3, round 4. You can put yourself in a whole nother galaxy, right, with what we've got right now, because I think both of our teams are in a position. You said it. We're late into the draft. This is a really, really different position for at least us as Lions fans, Wayne. I know you're used to this, but we're not consistently late in the draft.
Not consistently. I mean, we've had some years we're picking in the deep teens,
we've tested
20s.
it.
Yeah, glimpses.
We hung out in that group of guys and group of team, but we're there now. Like, it's our time, I think, for the next 5 years to be mentioned in the back end of the draft. So this is uncharted territory for me.
That's where we've been at the last 5 years, basically, is somewhere in the 20s. And like I said, man, it changes your mindset when it comes to how you approach the draft. You kind of start to, realistically, you focus on your weaknesses and where do you want to see your team improve?
Yep.
And like what prospects are going to fit that specific need, like Buffalo a few years ago, they needed an offensive playmaker and all the receivers were gone. Boom. And then we had to look at Dalton Kincaid. I was not even, no expectation of that. I knew we were considered a tight end, but there's so many things out of left field that's going to come, and it's hard to predict. But yeah, wish list, who you like, who you want to have. You want to kind of go 2-3 deep each position and then kind of take it from there. So,
well, and I think, Wayne, you said it, maybe that's a kind of the direction we can start in is where do we think this team needs to improve on? And let's not even worry so much right now about is it free agency, is it via draft, but what work does this team need to do to get better? What side of the ball, what position on each side of the ball? I mean, who wants to start there?
I think that's a great point, because my head immediately, I know we know it's defensive line, but my head immediately goes to corner. That's where I say the defensive line, I think we can talk about it. And I know there's people out there saying, no, it's D-line. But I'm telling you, there's a fine recipe to getting your secondary tuned in with your corners. And all the successful teams have done it, and that's what I want to be, that team.
Yeah. I'm going to, that's a realistic approach to it, but I'm just going to throw this stat out at you, okay? Aiden Hutchinson, what week did he get hurt? It was like week 4 or 5?
Week 7, maybe. I think he played 7 games.
Aiden Hutchinson led the Lions in sacks last year.
Aiden Hutchinson led the league in sacks until like week 13 or something like that. I mean, he was on pace for just a hellacious season, right? And we've covered how it's just a shame the way that it played out. But
But what I'm
I
saying is that
think,
he missed 10 games
yeah,
and he
Yep.
still led the team in sacks. I think that's a glaring opportunity to say, hey guys, we need to fix up this pass rush. I know McNeil was hurt too, but like
Well, that's the
the
key that's the thing with our pass rush. McNeil was hurt. We have a pass rush specialist on free agency in Levi Anzarike who can't stay healthy. We can't
Levi
find
Anzarike
someone to stay healthy.
Levi Anzarike is a giant nose tackle, I believe. We brought him in the same draft as McNeil, second rounder, injury distinction, as you were alluding to. But I'm pretty sure he's not as big and stout and much of a space filler like Reeder or McNeil. But
Mm-mm.
I think Levi Anzawari, I think that he plays a much similar position, like a hybrid of Reeder and McNeil.
He threw up sacks, I'll tell you that. I think 1.5, 2.5 sacks towards the back end of the season when he
Yeah,
was healthy and we
it
needed
was
him.
it was awesome to see him on the field and not just on the field and healthy, but being productive. One piece to this puzzle, I did a little bit of reading up on him. I mean, I've always liked the guy. He had a big kind of breakout season for us before last year and then spent all year on IR, is John Kaminsky.
Okay, yeah.
If John Kaminsky comes back healthy and playing close to the level that he was playing in 2023, the dude still, like right now today, is only 29 years old, 6'4" or 5, 293 pounds. He is a presence and was a presence on the edge.
He's a power tank. So hold on, is this what you're saying is that our defensive line, if they all come back healthy, yes, we can add pieces, but are you backing up my argument that we need the secondary? Is that where you're headed? Because you're
That's
naming
not
guys coming back and healthy,
right.
and you're
It's
telling me
not
Hutch is coming back, such and such is coming back.
It's not where my head is at by way of where should we spend big money, what should we do in the draft. No secret that we are decimated by injury. I think a healthy enough Detroit Lions team could have won all the way. I think they could have beat that Eagles team. Certainly looks like they could have beat the Chiefs, but what I'm saying is at 28, 29, 30, all these late round picks, unless somebody slips or unless Brad trades up, I think that we are going to be drafting for depth and to make this team deeper and therein making it better. I don't think you're penciling in an every down starter at corner or any other position potentially outside of like offensive line, defensive tackle. Those transitions are easier for players to assimilate and to settle into. You started out saying that you wanted a corner, but I think your first statement there was everybody's so big on defensive tackle and defensive line, right?
Well, and let me say, not in the draft, just as far as position as we need to prioritize a little bit more to that one position.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
I do. I mean, it never hurts to have another good corner, right? But with Rick Straw out most of the year, second round pick, right? Looked great at the combine, looked good in the preseason, looked like he had a knack for forcing turnovers, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Robertson coming back most likely. You got high potential, big draft capital spent on Terry and Arnold. Didn't have a turnover this year, disappointing. But the guy's about he's dog.
He is. I'm all in on him.
And
got a
I
great
think what
attitude too.
this, yeah, for sure. And
Great point.
I personally think what this team needs is more pressure. Wayne said it. Aiden Hutchinson on pace for a breakout, just absolutely monstrous year, gets injured, sits out the last, 10 games or something, still leads the team in sacks. Great point, Wayne. But this draft in particular, at least before the combine, again, all speculation, is so deep at interior defensive line and even edge rusher. The little bit of research that I've been doing since the last time I was able to get on here with you guys, for instance, like last year's draft, if you kind of combine the grades from all these pundits and all these different sources, had 12 interior defensive tackles, defensive linemen, at this stage of the game, before the combine, 12 of them with first-round grades. At the exact same point in the year, pulling from the same sources, it's something like 21, 22, 23 defensive tackles with first-round grades. So if you're looking at picking at 28 and trying to get someone that can come in not only to fill a need, but to really chew up some snaps, this is the draft where we take an interior defensive lineman in the first or second round, I think.
See, I knew you were going to bring up those first round grade comments. So I started looking at the top edge rushers as far as performance and as far as top in free agency and looking where they were drafted. You're looking at fourth, fifth, sixth round guys that we know what Brad Holmes is going to do. Find those guys. My question is, and yes, this is a great draft for all the depth, but we're talking immediate impact, right? We're not talking about the draft. I'm talking about, okay, I want to get into a skiff with my coaching staff, and I need to say, who can I bring to this team that is going to take this defense to the next level? Yeah, we got Hutch right here. Is it? Maybe it is somebody on this other side or in that corner room. You just mentioned a bunch of young guys. We're losing Carlton Davis technically through free agency.
Why do you think we're going to lose Carlton Davis?
Well, it's through free agency, so we don't know if he's coming or signed for sure, right? But we have a potential of losing him. And that's where I'm saying, okay, do we take a little bit more and go come up with some really fine villain-esque plan and put a little bit more emphasis on corner? That might not be the right answer, but that's where I'm thinking, not strictly draft.
You know what makes the position real easy for corners to play?
I knew you were going to do this.
Pressure in the backfield, baby.
Hey,
pressure.
I guess there's no wrong way to go about this. Maybe we're just in a good position. Wayne, can you check us here? Are we just in a spot where we're in a good spot, right? We're looking at D-line and corner. Normally, we're looking at every position. Maybe that's why, Hitch. We're always focused on best player available.
Which we still should be, not to interrupt Wayne, but no matter who's available to us, we most likely should still be looking at taking the best available.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, you gotta have a like we said, you have to have like a group. Like you want to have a net of guys that you really like and guys that you expect to be in that period of time to draft, and then you go with best player available at that time. Obviously, with a position you might have in mind as a priority. But just regards to you guys, you guys are right there for sure. You can never stop like adding depth. Obviously, you saw this year with all the injuries. That was a downfall of the Lions. More or less, you guys were putting out fourth stringers out there, and the coaching staff, the organization, the culture really created an opportunity where even those fourth stringers were performing, right? So you add some first, second, third round, some top draft picks into that depth chart. It's not only going to, create some security there, but it's also going to push those guys, the Kaminsky's and the Kirby Josephs and the Rex Straws. And you guys got a couple linebackers coming back, Rodriguez and James Houston. And those guys are going to have an opportunity to step up, but you got to focus. And we talked about it last week, me and Mark. Me and Mark. We talked about it last week. The Eagles formula has been homegrown. They developed that O-line pass rush through the draft, but it's been going on for years. They've been a team to show that, you got to stay consistent through the draft, but every now and again you have to make that big splash. For them, it's been on the offensive side, AJ, Saquon, but for the most part, defensively, they've really built that program from just since 2010, since Roseman took over. So, it's got to keep adding talent, keep your eye on the prize that way. I don't know, man. I'm not a super big fan of trading away draft capital right now unless there's like a bona fide stud that you really need. But I think you just stick with what you got and just draft the talent and go from there. You guys are right there, man.
Yeah, I think you're not wrong, Wayne. I also do want to say, though, that with Brad Holmes at least, if he wants to execute a trade, man, because he has this track record now, we can say after, 3 drafts under his belt, Brad sees you with some talent, Brad's going to go and get you. And you look at the myriad of trades that he's pulled off over the last few years during the draft. I'm not talking about at the trade deadline. I'm not talking about after the draft, during the preseason, but during the draft, the guys that we have acquired via trade, off the top of my head, Gibbs, Campbell, Williams, Laporta is part of that. You get, like I just said, we're not talking free agents or anything yet, but you throw a guy like Zadarius Smith in there who had kind of an up and down end of the year with us, but he got him for nothing, right? And we haven't even talked about the fact if he's not a cap casualty and they bring him back in, bookend that. That's what we were saying all year. Imagine the bookend. Imagine him being on the other side. And then you have guys well rested and rehabbed and healthy to play up the middle. And maybe you draft a defensive tackle at 28. Maybe you don't. Maybe the best player at 28 is a wide receiver or a guard. And I think Mark isn't wrong either, because we're in this position where we're not looking to this. You have to draft a skilled player here. You have to draft a receiver. You have to draft a quarterback. You have to make a big splash in the top 5 or 10. We're looking at best available.
So you guys, so hypothetically speaking, I like how you said that, Hitch. If you're in your position, you're ready to draft. You guys are what, 20? You're in that position, ready to draft. You guys have both talked about defense as being your top priority, but top one of the receivers, the kid out of Ohio State, drops down there. With what you got right now in your roster, you'd be okay with them taking that receiver?
1,000%. 1,000%. After you field every phone call from every other team in the league that is potentially shocked that player is still there, and if nobody is willing to overpay or to sack up and pull the trigger,
I disagree.
Yeah, I want to hear it, but I would be totally fine. The only thing I don't want them to do is draft a quarterback anytime in the first or second round. Anytime you have the luxury of having a quarterback that you don't have to really worry about, it opens everything up for you. And right now with Jared Goff, we're good. We're fine. But let's hear what you got to say. And we got Hendon Hooker.
Never forget about Hendon Hooker.
Now, mystery man.
So real quick, I want to bring this up before I forget, and then I'll leave it alone. So we talked about the Eagles being kind of a defense that we're achieving or we're striving to be. Homegrown defensive line, I'll agree with that. The Eagles did that. But did they not go out and get a big cornerback from a team and trade for him?
Are you talking about Slay?
Exactly.
That was, yeah, I would argue that was before this.
Yeah, Slay was disgruntled, and he pretty much forced their hand. I don't think.
And I'm not saying that's just what's going to be a third and a fifth. Is all I'm saying is if we're following the recipe is homegrown defensive line, Hitch, you laid it out. This draft has the earmarkings of building all that depth that we so badly need. Okay. And that's why I really don't think this is the draft where we're having the conversation of getting a wide receiver. I'm okay with it at the deep end of the draft. I'm not saying it's a stupid idea and we can't do it. I'm going to argue till I'm blue in the face. I'm just saying that this year lays out the recipe. Yeah. We're going to draft. It's going to be one of those drafts where I don't see it being, the year you and I had the conversation when I was in Florida, Hitch, where it was very controversial. I see this being a draft where we're going, okay, I like that. Yep, that makes sense. Yep, I like that. I just don't see it. I think if we're going to see anything where everything gets shaken up and we go, Brad, you did it again, it's going to be in the secondary. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, we at this point, like we've echoed 1,000 times, it's all speculation.
It is.
But if we're talking corner, if you're talking corner, and I haven't really looked at the list of potential best available free agents, but if you want to talk cornerbacks in the draft, I think that the kid from Notre Dame, is it Mitchell or something like that from Notre Dame? He's a perfect example of a guy that could slip when teams are going to reach on these quarterbacks. These quarterbacks, I don't think are that good.
I don't think so either.
The talk is, are they going 1 and 2? Are they going 1 and 3? Are they going 2 and 4? You put a guy like, I think they said it on 97.1 today. You put Drake May in this class, he's leaps and bounds better than them, right? So if teams are quarterback hungry and they're reaching all over the place, you could get a guy projected right now before the combine to go in the top 15. He has one bad pro day. He pulls up a hammy on his 40. One of the best corners in the draft, similar to how we drafted Arnold, is sitting there for us in the 20s. Or maybe we move up from 28 to 17 right? Something like 28th overall, this year's third, next year's sixth, conditional sixth. That's nothing for a guy that can step in and play great corner. So at this early stage, you want to talk corners, I think you got to talk about the kid from Notre Dame.
That's fair.
The theory that the approach that I like to follow, and I think the success that they've had with it has been tremendous from the Eagles. Like that might work for you, but then you take the Eagles approach and they get a guy like Cooper DeJean that falls to them, which again, you got to play the draft board. You don't know what's happening, but like, is it good fortune that they were able to get that? Yeah, but then they draft Quinyon Mitchell in the same draft, right? So.
And they both showed up this year. They both showed up big time. Cooper
Like,
DeJean was my highest rated corner going into last year, and I was
a first
so
round.
upset
He
with
was a
Philly.
first round projection for 99% of the mock drafts that I saw. He was projected to be a first round. I don't know how he fell to the second round, and of course he fell to the Eagles.
And I think people sleep in general, overall, I should say. I think people sleep on the talent that gets produced out of Iowa. You can't ignore that it's tight end you, but look at Jack Campbell from Iowa. Remember years back, 5th, 6th round pick that we turned into from a corner to a safety. Gosh, I just had his name and I lost it. But depth player was on the Lions team for 5-6 years, right? Iowa is a school that I look at hard and heavy. They had a D tackle drafted by Pittsburgh out of Iowa last year. He was looking at these projections. He was projected anywhere from the third best D tackle to the fifth, sixth best D tackle, but Iowa produces guys. So if people are listening or watching this and they're going out thinking, I want to look into this draft, but there's 600 eligible players, I don't know how to do it, pick a school. Start with your positional group of need, pick a school. My school is Iowa. Cooper DeJean is the shit, and we should have drafted him.
Hitch, that's a great point because look at what Brad Holmes does. He picks a school, Alabama, for the last couple of years and says, yep, I want you, I want you, I want you, and I want you. It's pretty simple. I think in the middle of the season, I was talking with a coworker and I said, pick somebody on the defensive side of the Ohio State Buckeyes, and they're going to be a Lion. Pick one of their edge rushers. Pick somebody on their D line.
Yep.
You're right. That's great advice. Pick a school and start doing your research because the good GMs know where to pick them from. Iowa's a great example.
Yeah, Iowa continually produces NFL starters. Not always the
everything
flashiest,
but a quarterback.
Amari Spivey is the kid that I was thinking about. Amari Spivey from years ago.
God, you pull up some odd names.
Yeah,
Amari.
Iowa
Spivey,
don't win
Jesus.
though. All that talent, but they don't win in the Big Ten. It's weird.
It's because college football is garbage. College football is trash, and there's no point in paying attention to it until the draft. It's just a means to feed the NFL. College football is trash.
It's because Iowa can't get a quarterback. They got retread from Michigan.
Dude, with the transfer, this is a whole other episode and maybe a whole different day. But you throw in something as flawed as the transfer portal into something that was already so hard to be a fan of on a weekly basis.
I love it
because you throw in transfer portal.
It exposes the chaos and the nonsense that was college football with this bullshit of when they pick and choose when they're going to come down on a university and pull all their banners down and say, "Oh, we're appalled because you took money." While that's why you hate it. I love the chaos that it creates now.
Getting sanctioned or relegated or whatever you want to call it, that has always just been a response by the NCAA saying they all do it, but you got too cocky about it.
For yayo, baby.
Yeah, I'm not saying that these kids don't deserve money based on their image and their likeness, but they had a problem. They didn't know how to fix it, so they went too far in the other direction, and now it's free agency. It's fucking free agency, and it's trash.
Yeah, they got to make these kids sign contracts. There's got to be some level of commitment. I also think they should cap like how much these kids can make because you're getting to the point where these guys are going to no name you just to try to catch a check and
to get on a reality show and beef up their earnings. Some of these kids that won't even get drafted are going to make more money in name, image, likeness than they will for the rest of their career, which that's cool, dude. These kids get hurt all the time. They get hung out to dry. They get cut. They lose their scholarship. It's a very flawed system. Jake Butt, first player to insure himself, right, before a national championship game. He made more money off of that, or not national championship, was it a playoff game or whatever? Bowl game, I should say. He made more money. He made more money off of the ability to look ahead at insuring himself against his future earning potential. he made more money off of that knee injury than he ever made in the NFL. So
This is where I'm going to tell you, Hitch, and this is advice that my grandfather passed down to me. Don't hate the player, hate the game, dude.
I don't
Because
hate the player.
these
The game
kids
is
have
terrible.
been getting absolutely manhandled financially by these billionaire owners. And now, yes, is it upside down, wrong, twisted? Is it, in theory, is it ruining it? The only thing that's going to ruin it is if they go to the one and done like the NBA did. That
It
is
pretty
the
much is one
only
and
way
done,
this
though.
thing falls off the track, though.
Like,
It's one and done in the sense where you can't get excited about grabbing a 4 or 5 star player anymore because your coach leaves or someone else
that player
decommits and it's game over. Right?
But they're gonna be in college football for what is it, a minimum of 3 years. So you're gonna get some type of exposure in that system before they prematurely come to the NFL. If the NBA would go back to that and you could start building, and I don't even care how much these guys go back and forth, you could start building some teams. Is that so you take your pills? Are you
No.
missing pills right now? I don't want you missing pills.
I can't turn my phone off because Tracy is going to text me if she needs something. She still can't get out of bed.
Okay.
But it's been ringing off the hook. Work and parents and all sorts of shit.
I don't need you dropping, dude. Just making sure.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, that's my point. I really think it's kind of an interesting time in the world right now where everything's getting flipped upside down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the pendulum effect, right? I just said it, but the pendulum was so far in one direction, so slanted towards the NCAA machine and their earning potential that these kids just got jobbed and fucked all the time. I'm not saying don't pay these kids, but Wayne alluded to it. Get some more skin in the game. If these kids make a commitment, make them stay for a year and a half, or if they transfer redshirt them. If they transfer, take away part of their eligibility or something. Let them make their money. But the pendulum has went from here to here.
Yeah.
They're going to take time and it's going to settle here just like anything else. But it's, in my unpopular opinion, college football is trash, and the transfer portal for me made it even harder to watch.
So I'll throw you this, and then you guys can go back to this, whoever the hell we were talking about before I went off the rails. I am going to commit to a college football team based on my coach is going to be there on this program. What's best for me? That coach gets fired within a year. He's got a shitload of guaranteed money, goes God knows where else. Now I'm stuck with somebody else who's basically looking at me saying, kid, yeah, you don't fit in here. You're going to sit. I know you committed.
Happens all the
You're
time.
going to
what they're still getting,
write it out.
Unless they lose their scholarship, what they're still getting is premium education. They're still making money on their name, image, likeness. They might not be making as much than what they were hoping for or planned on when they made their commitment. And I'm not saying eradicate the transfer portal. I'm saying fix the transfer portal.
Yeah.
If that kid gets fucked and wants to transfer, but it can't just be free agency.
There it is. Yeah.
That's fair.
And there's got to be a penalty added to it too, man. You can't just be free balling out here. Like if this is going to be, you're going to pay these guys top dollar, like you got to make this an organized business. It just feels like it's the black market and they're just running amok with and doing whatever they want, and there's no control. And Hitch is right, man. It sucked the life out of the game. I was a traditionalist with college football. I played ball at the University of Windsor, which is
how long was your field?
100 and what was it? 120 plus the 20-yard ends, 150 yards.
We talking meters, feet, inches?
Yards, brother, yards.
Yards. All right, man.
He did the conversion for you.
I didn't know that we were that we had a celebrity in our midst. But did you play for 4 years?
No. Yeah, I played 5 years in Canada actually. So I use the word play sparingly. I was a part of the team for 5 years.
Dig it.
Played a handful of times here and there, some special teams and stuff, but great experience. Nonetheless, what I did, what college football in Canada is, pales in comparison to the American side of the game.
America takes everything and bastardizes it into a cash-making machine, and professional sports is no different, right? If there's money to be made, the Jerry Joneses of the world are just gonna rape them.
You just gotta kind of just bring it like into the lanes, man. It's just too wild right now.
It is the wild, wild west. You guys are both right. I'm obviously doing my best Clark impression, Hitch, but I think we're going to see it, but I think the biggest thing is this is the frustrating thing is you have the Big Ten, which does not have 10 schools. You have the SEC, which is every good team in the South. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We need to reel this into like an AFC and NFC.
I feel like the playoffs was a great big step in the right direction, right? The playoffs is fun. As much as I don't follow playoffs, besides for the gambling aspect of it, the playoff system is better. There was so many goddamn bowl games that didn't mean a thing. Teams with 4 wins were getting bowl games. Playoff system is awesome. The playoff system is awesome, but college football as a whole is extremely flawed.
It is. I mean, I'm not going to sit on here and say I think they've got the recipe, but I still think it's better than, it's better than the NBA's feeder system which is now just the G League.
Yeah, the and-1 league college, and they've made it a little tougher, right? Those guys have to play for a year or two now before they can split.
2 years minimum, 2
years? Yeah. Now, do you know that in almost every state in America, the college football coach of the biggest university in said state is the highest paid individual in the state?
Wow,
fun fact of the day.
Surprise me, I guess. Football rules the world, right?
Yeah, when you got the Nick Sabans of the world.
Bucks there.
Yeah, it's not always, but the Harbaugh money and the Irving money and what's the beard in Ohio? That douchebag. They're just raking in.
Ryan Day.
Ryan Day. Yeah.
So how do I go to college to be a college football coach and just sign up then with this education? Where's the irony in that? They should start teaching classes for how to be a professional college football coach, because
they have it. It's on PlayStation and it's called Head Coach, and you can get it. You can get it for about $14.99 on release day.
For years, bro. We've been training for years.
Oh yeah, dude! I'll forever remember my first ever bus ride out to a high school football game. And Wayne doesn't know this guy, but Adam Van Dam is sitting next to me. He was our high school quarterback. And he says, "Hey, man, you had a good week of practice, but did you look at the playbook?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "What are you going to do?" And I'm like, "I play Madden." He's like, "They're not going to let you call the plays, man." And I'm like, "You think they're going to let me touch the ball either? I don't need to know this shit."
Like you're the integral part of the whole thing.
Yeah. Made a fucking tackle on the one. Shout out to Adam Van Dam. My first snap ever as a Lakeview Husky, I made a fucking stick of a tackle on the 1 yard line and then didn't make a tackle for 3 more years. Oh yeah, I was there for moral support.
I wish we could find some game tape of you in the pads, Hitch, so that Wayne could see you in your glory. Because
I got it, baby.
I mean, as one former player next to another former player, right?
How tall are you, Wayne?
5'6".
Oh, we're getting personal now.
I'm not asking him. Yeah, okay, so I'm only 5'5". But there is this thing in football, especially at this lower high school shitty levels. There's the little big man, right? 5'5", but stocky, and you put those big ass 1980s Texas shoulder pads on, and you wear a mean looking cage, and you got that low center, the fucking cowboy collar, the jersey up to fucking here. And you got that low center of gravity, dude. The best part about football for me was head hunting on fucking special teams, because guys are running with their eyes on the ball.
Kill
and
shots.
Wayne, you don't have to hit that hard when you got all your momentum and you just go boom with your shoulder. Lay kids out like you're Ray fucking Lewis. And does it affect the game? No. But was it awesome, dude? It was fucking awesome.
Hell yeah, it was. Damn right.
I can't stress enough, I'm going to find game tape.
It's out there.
Oh no, I'm going to find it.
I'm
getting this game tape.
Gotta make this happen. Adam Van Dam.
Shiny.
I know Adam Van Dam's listening. Send that in.
Adam's the OG, dude. Adam was what would you compare Adam to, Mark? Just so we know, from a football aspect, he was the Steve Young meets Jeff Garcia, not to just make the San Francisco comparison, but he had a rifle of an arm.
Strong arm, and he could run around. And
athletic
before quarterbacks who were mobile.
Was he lefty?
No,
he wasn't a lefty.
No, but he was almost athletic to a fault, and our teams were so fucking bad that it was just the Adam Van Dam show, dude. The only time we would score points is Adam on a broken play rollout. I don't
Yeah.
know why they didn't let him play running back, receiver, tight end, kicker.
Someone's
Our
got to
teams
chuck
were
the
epically,
pigskin.
right? Not me.
Yeah, we'll talk about depth, lack of depth. We'll say the 2004 Lakeview Huskies football team.
You
So maybe
know,
we lack depth.
Needed
So
some work that draft a bit.
I played football. I played hockey. In my younger years, I played baseball. I tried to play all these goddamn sports, and I think my combined win-loss record across all platforms at every age level is probably like 10 and 200.
No
Right?
way.
I swear to God, dude. I went and taught classes at my high school last year, and I was looking through the trophy case at good old LHS, and they had some impressive athletic accomplishments and in this wall of trophies all over the school, and there was just a fucking gap there from like 2000
For
to like
everything.
2007. I mean, we couldn't even do a fucking backstroke, man. We were
Nothing.
terrible.
Nothing. Not even the basic white boy stuff either. Like we were a school that was decent in the 90s at golf,
Yeah.
soccer.
Yeah, football. We were
Volleyball.
good at football. The girls were great at everything. The girls at the girl teams, the girl athletes there were fucking great. But nobody goes to their games. It was a rough few years in the 48081.
Yeah.
Mm.
Something in that water. A lot of lack of motivation.
Yeah.
Was it just like a
Oh,
5-year window, or did it like what happened?
it was a real shitty coaching carousel with a sketchy AD for a minute, and myself included. But everybody was just more interested in partying and smoking weed, and there was just no real motivation to get better because the coaches sucked.
Yeah.
And it was just a broken, toxic program for many years.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah.
I remember.
Well, I coach high school football now, so
do
I
you?
need to learn these tricks. Yeah.
So how'd you get in? I mean, obviously
They're all on drugs. They're
Right.
all on drugs.
Yeah. I remember one time our coach said, "Do you?" I'm not going to use the dude's name, but one of our tight ends, coach came up to me and he's like, "Do you think that he smoked weed before the game?" And I go, "Yeah, I think he did." He goes, "How are you so certain?" I said, "He bought it from me, man." It was fun, but we didn't win any awards.
Yeah.
Again,
Focus
Wayne,
like-
they're all on drugs.
Yeah. How did I
We're
get into
all
that?
on drugs. No good
Tell
story has
about
ever
who you
started
know,
with
brother.
hold my salad. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny that you bring that up, though, because you've got a whole different coaching approach and culture compared to what we were used to. It was screaming and yelling and favoritism.
Yeah.
And nowadays, I mean, just from taking Jason to travel soccer for so long, right? And now we have him in developmental basketball. I'm helping coach in one of the rec leagues. I mean, dude, they put tape on some of these kids at a real young age.
Oh, dude,
Right,
kids are encouraged to like build highlight reels and packages, and parents can pay money for this shit to go show other club teams, man.
The eyes now, the eyes on you, man, to where you can get scouted and picked up. I mean, I grew up playing baseball, right? Every kid that I see now has a hitting coach. I'm thinking to myself, like, you were lucky if you could get to the batting cages when they were open at Kiteman Row, let alone having my own personal hitting coach.
Right.
I mean, sports in general is just taken to another level.
I want to encourage every little kid, man. If your parents are going to pay for coaches and shit, the only game that you can play until the day you die is golf.
I lost you for a second.
Yeah, dude, you're good. What I was saying is I want to encourage all these kids to play fucking golf, man. It's the only sport that you can play until the day you fucking die. And if your parents are going to be spending money on highlight reels and hitting coaches, learn how to swing a golf club so you have something to do when you're 40, you know?
What a sales pitch. Grab them by the throat and say, hey, play some fucking golf.
Some goddamn golf.
Play some goddamn golf. Until you die.
It's like
the only thing you can do.
It's also one of the only sports where drinking is not only allowed but encouraged, right?
Well, and there's also a lot of scholarships out there for it. I told the same thing to Jason. He wants to get a full ride, right? That's his big thing is full ride D1, full ride D1. And I'm like, dude, golf is a prime opportunity.
Primo. You get to leave school early. You get to walk around on the golf course with your buddies. It's practice for when you're
And listen,
40.
homie, I don't know if you've watched the Masters weekend, but they all take their own private jets to get there too. So
because they all have that they all have that live money, right?
Unless you're what was the buddy that got pulled over by the cops?
Which one?
Scotty Scheifele.
Oh yeah, dude, he took a cop for a ride, right? That cop
Yep.
was on the windshield like XT.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's how badass Scotty is, because then he just chips in from like 89 yards
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the sand wedge.
Gets
What
a
a
misdemeanor, gets a misdemeanor in the morning and goes -13 for a
Yeah.
green jacket.
Yeah, no big deal.
Oh yeah.
No big deal.
Hey,
That's coming up. That's something we can't lose sight of.
I don't want to change the subject here, but since we're going off about all these other sports, and I think it's great talk, I'm compelled to ask Wayne a question here. How you guys feeling about the Four Nations? How you guys feeling about the Kachucks?
I love that.
I fucking love that.
So I'm going to take it from the Canadian side, and we got a lot to prove here, man. Like, there's not much for us to hold on to, particularly with the NHL. We haven't, like, the Canadian team hasn't won the cup in so many years.
You only invented the fucking game.
Exactly, right? So trust me when I tell you, we are gunning on Thursday. We're trying to win that shit.
Oh,
Okay.
I have not looked forward to a hockey game or even a organized sport event. Like, this Super Bowl was trash, right? Everybody hated this fucking Super Bowl. Nobody wanted to watch it. Wait for the fucking reviews on this game on Thursday.
Oh, I bet
You're
you
right.
It's gonna draw 10 million people. It's gonna draw 10 million people.
Yeah.
And all that proves
Go
is
ahead.
put fighting in every sport, and
Right.
you'll never have a problem.
You know,
Let
the-
them fight in everything.
Okay, so are they gonna? Is that how it's gonna start again, or what? Is that the MO now?
I don't
or?
think so. I think what we saw on Saturday was just a gift from the hockey gods, dude. You don't see shit like that anymore, especially in a glorified all-star game, right? I don't
Yeah.
think we're gonna come out on opening. I don't think we're gonna have 3 fights in 9 seconds.
For sure
but-
not.
Well, you know what? It might be the only sport out there where they still have creative freedom without being villainized.
It's the only sport that still has an all-star game, dude. We saw the memes going around, like basketball. They're saying to each other, "Hey, let's not play defense, man. Let's just see how many 39-footers we can make." And football's out there doing American Gladiator looking shit, throwing nerfs at fucking targets, right? Jared Goff is like raking it in like it matters.
MVP of the Pro
Yeah.
Bowl, MVP.
Yeah, they're playing flag. The NFL's like, oh, we're going to play flag football now. And then the NHL is like, we will assemble men that will die for their fucking countries.
Yeah.
Like, it is a different fucking animal. And this Four Nations has been fucking fantastic. And I can't speak from your point of view, Wayne, but as a American over here, it's been fun.
Yeah. Oh, I believe it. I know there's a big debate. I know America and the United States, obviously with what's going on too politically, I think that puts a lot of gas on the fire, and I wouldn't be surprised if imagine if the Donald shows up.
Here's what we're doing. We're laying it on the line. This game is, if we win, we own Canada.
The 51st state?
It's for everything.
You know that shit's coming. You know it's coming.
That might be my best and only way to become Canadian, man.
I'm telling you.
Just inherit us.
I'm telling you guys.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to lay it out, and you can make your decision after this game's over.
They're gonna change the name of the tunnel, man, to the American Tunnel. Right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be
to up north. Hey, it's gonna be now become the UP or something now, eh? Actually, you guys are we're below you.
Remember when we thought George Bush was the biggest asshole that was ever going to be president, and he referred from DC as the Canadians were our neighbors to the north, right? I mean, it's our expectation for our commander-in-chief has plummeted since George Bush and Dick fucking Cheney, but standing in the fucking District of Columbia calling Canada our neighbors to the north, man. You can't make this shit up.
That's not a bad idea. What a great idea. So not only do we get to take over Canada, but we can do a contest of renaming the tunnel. And for all the 14 people that listen to this podcast, one of them will get to rename that tunnel.
You name it the Jesse Ventura Gateway to Utopia or some shit.
The Jesse Ventura Baja Tunnel.
Yeah. Drive through here, it cures you of epilepsy. Yeah.
The Infowars.com tunnel. How about that?
Man,
who is that?
Y'all need
who is
to
that
just chill
asshole?
with all this fucking take over Canada talk, man. I don't know what you guys are smoking.
I know, dude, because
it's
not
funny.
even a joke, dude.
I'll tell you what, though.
Because we're scared.
I crossed today And I'll tell you what, I went over there and I started scouting up some areas. You guys got great food over there. I'm looking forward to crossing that tunnel more
What
often.
what are they gonna do? What do they do, Wayne? Like everybody smokes weed now, and everybody has copious amounts of weed like in their pocket and in their car and everywhere, right? I stash weed strategically around all my different vacation properties and places that I go. It's always there when I get there. Is it like decriminalized at the border a little bit? I mean, I know that they still tear your car up. I know they still tear your car apart, dude, but is it like the equivalent of forgetting to declare your duty free shit, or is it straight up fucking felony?
So this is what he's trying to get you to do, Wayne. He's trying to get you to say it, so when he gets busted, he plays this back. Says, "I got a buddy that said this."
I got a
so
friend.
Watch.
I got a friend.
Yeah.
There's still charges involved with marijuana, but it's more related to like
Just say it. The taxes.
No, like trying to distribute it and try to sell it. It's more trying to go after that stuff. You're allowed to have X amount of grams, 30 grams personal stuff on you, but it's not okay yet at the border. That's the thing. Yeah, if you want to declare it and let them know, you're probably better off that way than say, "Oh, I forgot."
So if I come over to Toronto to see a hockey game and I forget that I have my money in my pocket, what you're telling me is this is like the drug smuggling equivalent to like jaywalking. Or am I wrong?
Be careful how you answer this question. He's going to hold you accountable.
I will.
Like, how much you say? Just a little J?
Like he's calling Trudeau right now.
My money, where is it? It's like a little thing the size of a box of cigarettes, and it holds weed that you smoke when you want to smoke.
I mean, at the end of the day, the border officer the border officer always has the authority to do whatever they want to do. But little stuff like that, I don't know, man. It's hard to say. I don't know. I wouldn't suggest.
Hitch, I read an article. Wayne's right, but I read an article this is regarding TSA, and they said
we still have TSA after yesterday.
They said literally, like, we're not looking for that. We're looking for bombs. So whatever you have, keep it nice, clean, tight. You leave us alone, we'll leave you alone. Like he said, be polite. You declare things. Transparency at its finest.
I mean, you
don't have to roll up in a little brown bag anymore and sneak it through.
I'm not planning on crossing the border with drugs, but I feel like in general, real question, like it has to be through the roof now, right? It's not like
totally planning to smuggle drugs. I can tell.
Like you haven't, Mark.
Again, the marijuana side of it, it's not too crazy unless you're carrying bricks over here. You should be all right. It's more the cocaine, the fetty that we're kind of focused on right now. So don't carry that stuff.
Yeah.
Why is
this get in trouble?
I don't know how we've went down this web, but I'm gonna keep going.
I know.
Yeah. Psilocybin is getting decriminalized in Canada.
Yeah, still not there yet.
It's working. It's closer there than it is here, man. We've decriminalized it we've given states the ability to allow municipalities to decriminalize.
States rights.
So I can drive around Harper Woods with a bunch of mushrooms in my pocket, but the second that I leave Harper Woods, it's now a felony. Right. So you guys are closer than we are, where I believe that it's not frowned upon to microdose. You can get that shit mailed to you in Canada.
Yeah, you can. Like the dispensaries are still, they're getting targeted for just making sure that they're staying within their protocols and whatever. I'm not too familiar with psilocybin, to be honest with you. I just know that it's not
magic
fully
mushrooms
authorized. No, I know that. I just don't know like the laws necessarily around it at this time.
Yeah.
So from what I understand, Hitch, in Ann Arbor, it's decriminalized to the point where there's a store that sells it.
Well, you can buy it here online. You just have to enter your zip code to see if it's allowed in your city. It's city to city at this point. Yeah, I have to get them delivered to East Point.
I'm pretty confident you can order it online here too.
I think Wayne brought up a good point. Keep the fentanyl away, keep the cocaine away, and leave the kids alone. And I think our government, that's the big focal point. That's the bad stuff. The rest of it, it's a way for them to write you up if you're being a dickhead, right? Obviously, the decriminalization word.
marijuana in the States until recently, what, 2016 or whatever, when it was decriminalized. It's just the biggest excuse to fill our prisons with people, our for-profit prisons, and to incarcerate minorities, and to just waste money on what is now barely a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
That was the driving force between keeping it illegal for so long, is what I think it was a Schedule 2, right? So you just have droves of young minority males sitting in prison for something that now is not a crime, right?
Do you really want to get into Iran-Contra tonight, Hitch?
Dude, you guys did all sorts of I turned my head against my better judgment with some of the Trump comments that were fucking made while in my absence, right? We can go there if you want, but tonight in Detroit Lion Fan Forum political debate, we're going to talk about decriminalization of narcotics.
Oh my God. Yes, I love it. The last 40 minutes of this has just been absolute pure gold. I love it.
And then we wonder why we get no subscribers, man. We've stalled out at 90 or whatever for 6 months, and it's because we get on here on these false pretenses of talking about football. And what this is, remember the COVID fucking cocktail hours over Zoom? Right? This is a COVID fucking cocktail hour over Zoom. I get to get on here. I had a shit fucking day today, but I get to get on here, chat with my new friend Wayne, get to see Mark's face and crush some Rolling Rocks, right? I mean, this is why nobody watches, follows, subscribes, likes, because nobody gives a fuck about just watching us banter back and forth about my high school football career.
That's not
right?
true. My couple of my buddies.
This is going to be the highest rated episode.
They love this exchange. They love to just see how we talk like we're just dudes and we're just talking about shit off the cuff. Yeah, they love it.
That was the genesis of that. The antecedent to all of what the Detroit Lion fucking Fan Forum podcast has become was me and my buddy Ronnie, who's going to get on here hopefully and join us for our highly anticipated draft series coming up.
The draft spectacular. We got to come up with a good name for that.
We talked about football for so long, every fucking day. I called him up to say congratulations on having your third child. He was like, thanks. Do you think they're going to trade for Myles Garrett? So we just decided to formalize this because sometimes, believe it or not, we actually kind of understand football, and we were talking about some high level shit, right? So it started innocently enough about let's just record these conversations, and now we're over here talking about international drug law, Donald fucking Trump, and it's like we're in Wayne's basement, but we're not even in Wayne's basement.
All I can say is thank God for the concept of clickbait, because the two posts that you've got Wayne rambling on about Donald Trump and Canada, and I can't tell you the title that I put on there had nothing to do with what we were really talking about. But that statement got so many people fired up.
Because 50 fucking 1% of America just religiously searches Trump. So we want to lure them in, get a little ad revenue from these assholes. Fucking great.
Well, you just said
I'm telling you, it could have been 17 seconds of him talking about fly fishing with his grandpa. And just because it said the name, all my point is people are so dumb that whatever you type, they click on.
They told me it would be a fun trip. I didn't know it till I got there, but it was fun. The river was beautiful, and the fish, huge, huge.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like Wayne's friends are right. It's just the bullshit that people like us talking about, you know. Yeah. And
the boys in the best part. In the studio, just talking shit. This is what all guys
Hitch all fired up.
Coming to you live from my shanty. This is what guys
do all the time. So all the guys can just relate to this. Yeah. It's like them with their boys.
All right, you want to talk about something that we've all been talking about? We've all been talking about it, but we don't want to get shadow banned. Let's get it back around a little bit. Let's get it back around to football a little bit, okay? I don't know who wants to answer this first, but where we landed on the Baltimore kicker and the massage parlor shit, right? That
enlighten me.
Oh, you don't know?
I don't know. I thought we were going to talk about how Ray Lewis got away with murder.
Justin fucking Tucker, dude.
Yeah,
Old
dude.
news. You didn't
Deshaun
read the
Watson,
article that I
Deshaun
read
Watson
yesterday, dude.
2.0.
You
Another
didn't
7
read.
females just came forward, man.
Did you read the fucking articles about the statements that these broads are making? I don't know if I can talk about it here. It makes
He gets
Robert
into it.
Kraft look like America's grandpa, dude.
Really?
Yeah, it's only a matter of time until Cleveland trades for him and makes him the highest paid kicker in the fucking league again. It's gnarly, dude. The article that I read from The Athletic, this wasn't, dot
The
whatever. The Athletic, dude. My paid subscription to The Athletic is quoting these ladies. Are you looking this up, Mark?
I just typed in boy. Yep.
Yeah, dude. They one of these poor victims literally said that can I say it? Can I just say it?
You can't use the R word, but I mean, maybe you
can I say boner?
You can say boner.
Sure.
He would move sheet. The one little piece of cloth there to keep this all respectable. He would move the sheet with his boner. Right?
Wow. The old shark fin.
Not only so I screenshotted a lot of this article, dude. I can send it to you guys later. But he would how do I say this without getting us banned, man? He would enjoy these massages to the point of completion, finality, without breaking intense eye contact with these bros.
Jesus.
Wow.
So this is American Psycho 2.0.
This is this is Bill Cosby shit. Yeah, we got a lot going on in the NFL that is kind of just not getting spoken of here, dude. But
big time.
The intense eye contact finality from America's kicker.
Yeah,
it's a weird world that we live in.
Deshaun Watson, welcome your new cellmate, Justin Tucker. His career is over.
Yeah, dude. His career was already coming to an end. He would have saddled himself to Arizona or some shit for a few years and just ding out a bunch of 42
like
yarders.
You said, though, he's in a prime position to get traded to the Browns.
Right.
So
I mean, he'll be part of the Garrett trade, right? Put Garrett on the fucking Ravens because why not, right?
Okay, so no one mentioned it. I didn't mention it. Are we going to talk about this before the night's over? Is this still a realistic option to trade for Myles Garrett, Hitch? You weren't on last week when I sprinkled it out there as a piece of conversation.
So this obviously has been a hot topic. Again, all speculative. They might fucking sell the farm and commit to him and pay him to stay. He could be a Raider by the end of March. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
I'll say two things. He'll be 30 when the season starts. Do I think that that's the kiss of death? No. But historically, you look at some of these future Hall of Famers turning 30, 31, 32, you fall off, right? So understanding that he's the premier pass rusher, understanding that as we speak right now, he's 29, he's same age as John Kaminsky, right? I think that if they did it, there's nothing for us to be real mad about. But honestly, with the picks that we would have to give away, with the package that we would have to put together, not just with this 28th, because we've already said it, 28th is not that valuable in the grand scheme of things. So with the package that we would have to put together in compensation, draft pick speaking, I would rather personally let Brad keep those picks, right? Let Brad keep, I mean, again, just my educated guess, if you will, it's going to be this year's 28th, this year's 2nd, probably this year's 4th or 5th, next year's 1st, which might be, it could be fucking 12th. You don't know. I personally, with Brad's track record and with the culture that we're building on this team, I would rather just let Brad keep picks. If he wants a premier start now player, like look back in time, go backwards. Hindsight is 2020. Would you rather give up 2 first-round picks for Micah Parsons, or
no, you're right,
or
he'll
right
end
now
up
for Myles Garrett?
He'll
what
end
do
up
those first round
becoming
picks turn into?
an Atlanta Falcon or a Washington Commander.
And
You're right.
And for what you're going to have to pay, and I'm
Yep.
sure if we put together a package, or any team that puts together a package for him, if it happens, they can restructure, they can kick stuff down the line. We've always said that NFL cap is really just like a social construct, right? But with the money that's already being given to him that we would have to absorb, forget about keeping this offensive line intact. Forget about re-signing a guy that's going to be due like Kirby Joseph. It hamstrings you to keep. It's already going to be hard enough to keep this nucleus together. Who else do we have to pay pretty soon? Aiden fucking Hutchinson, right?
Yep.
I don't think he's going anywhere, but we're going to have to pony up some dough. We're going to have
He was
to make
running
him
today.
He was running about as well
Yes,
as I do, which is something that we should talk about. But
Well, you got to get him off the Southern Cuts and Rolling Rocks.
no,
Get
dude,
him back
that's
into shape.
That's the lifeblood.
I
But
can't believe
me
they
ask you
hired
guys a
you as his
question.
off-season coach to begin with.
Let me ask you guys a question. Are you one player away from winning a championship?
You asked me that question week 10 of this year. I'd say that we were going to win the championship. I think we have roster constructed with a nucleus that can win a championship. I don't want to keep going back to the injuries, but you put 3 or 4 of those guys, and I'll pick one. You pick the other 3 or 4. I pick Aiden Hutchinson stays healthy. You tell me the other 3 or 4. Is it Barnes? Is it any of them? Right? We have the best roster in the NFL. All we have to do is not fuck it up. All we have to do is keep getting better. Did I see you? I hope that this is the
No, I
look
just
of confusion.
I don't know, the
is
Eagles.
like
I just think of the
some thoughtful
Eagles
thinking
roster is
here.
elite,
Yep.
man. The Eagles roster is elite
Fuck the
from top
Eagles,
to
dude.
bottom.
Fuck the
I mean,
Eagles.
they just won the
have
championship.
the Eagles have a good team. Okay, there's a lot of good teams in the NFL. You take any 10 starters out of that Eagles rotation due to injury, and the Eagles don't make the fucking playoffs. We made the playoffs. We made the playoffs with I can't even remember his name, dude. The first playoff game of the season, we were bringing corners in off of other teams' practice squads. Eagles are good, dude. Like it or not, Chiefs are good. Broncos are on the upswing. The Bills are fucking awesome. But you remove 10 starters from either side of any of those teams, and they're dead in the water. We went out and won 15 or 16 games, right? So again, just to answer the question as it was asked, I believe truly that we have the best roster foundation in the league. And now we just build out, right? We take best player available. We don't blow our nut in free agency. We make sure that we can pay our nucleus, and we can't pay our nucleus with a guy like Myles Garrett coming up.
Yeah. Let me answer your question like this. One player is ever going to take you to the next level, and one player is going to change your franchise, you're always going to be the Bears. It's bigger than one player. It's culture, it's coaching, it's everything. The stars have to align.
Do you think?
In that sense, we have to stop with the injury art.
Sure. Saquon Barkley I would argue that Saquon Barkley dramatically changed that offensive approach for the Eagles.
He's when you don't have a Jahmyr Gibbs and a David Montgomery, you got to go out and get a Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley is the best current running back. He's the best running back in the league. He did what Derrick Henry couldn't do this year. He was hands down the best running back in the league. He's the game changer. He's the reason they won the Super Bowl. They obviously felt that they needed that piece, right? But we don't need that piece. We have that piece. So you know what we can do at 28 in the draft? We can ignore running backs. You know what we can do at 28 in the draft? We can ignore quarterbacks. We have the luxury of being okay at wide receiver. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Tim Patrick? Is it going to be Cooper Kupp? Is it going to be someone to be named later? But what we get to do, similar to what Buffalo has had the opportunity to do over the last few years, is we have the benefit of teams knowing that we don't need a quarterback. Teams knowing that we're going to be okay at wide receiver. Teams knowing that we're going to be okay pretty much everywhere across the board. So when guys start slipping and teams start calling, they're going to call us. They're going to call us. because we can take their guy. If they covet a corner, we can take him because fuck shit. Yeah, we'll put him on our team. He'll be good. We're not going to take the wide receivers that high. We're not going to take the quarterbacks that high. So come call us, man. We have the luxury of giving us take our 28th pick, dude. I don't care if we don't even make a pick in the first round. What that will mean is next year we have 2 first rounders. What can Brad Holmes do with 2 first rounders? He can draft Hall of fucking Famers, right?
I think in 3 more beers, you're going to go, I don't care if we don't have a first round, a second. I don't even care if we have a pick in this draft. Hitch, this is why I love your fucking spirit for this team. Because when you get in the zone, nobody can tell you that this team isn't the best team in the league. And that's a key piece. A fan base that firmly believes in their team. Buffalo's always had it, Wayne. We've always had diehard psychos like us, but there are so many bandwagon SOL fans that's another key component that I don't think one player can bring to a championship culture is that attitude that you're talking with.
Good teams have culture, right? We didn't know that, dude. We didn't know that all of this was so dependent on culture and fit and team mentality. And I'll tell you when I started to think, shit, dude, culture fucking matters. It wasn't Big Dano coming in here taking this fucking league by storm. It wasn't the fucking fumble rooskies and the pretending to fall and all the shit. The first time that I thought, shit, dude, it was Fat Patricia. He came in here. It set us back so fucking far because he was this holier than now. I'm the smartest motherfucker in the room. I'm going to ride a Detroit Lions quad around our fucking Allen Park facility because he's a dickbag. And that was the first time where I'm like, we are so broke, right? And then you get a guy coming in here like Dan fucking Campbell who's like, you know what, we're gonna blow this up and we're just gonna bring in guys that like to play fucking football. Look what happens, dude. It happened in Buffalo. It happened in Tampa Bay with Bruce Arians. There's no fucking secret now. We just didn't know because we were so broken that culture is the linchpin of all of it.
And that's why I feel bad for Ben Johnson because he literally went into a dumpster fire of an organization.
I don't
and there's going to be no culture.
Ben Johnson. I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
That motherfucker's better than we'll all ever be.
I'm just saying, I feel bad because if he was going to succeed somewhere, how about this? You're not going to succeed. Nobody can succeed in Chicago. It's just the worst organization ever when it comes to football.
Dick Duran, Brian fucking Urlacher. That team was special. A 16-game season, they won 13 of them.
Yeah.
But then it was all downhill from there.
Yeah, who was that? Jay Cutler?
You can only draft somebody. It was Jay.
God,
yeah, oh boy.
You said it.
This
is like saying Beetlejuice 3 times. Don't do it.
I'll hold back.
What?
I think it was Sexy Rexy, right?
It was.
You can only Kyle Orton too. I mean, you can only live and die by guys like Kyle Orton for so long till you're exposed. But you know, the monsters of the midway or whatever they call them.
Yeah, the monsters of the midway. I'm losing some juice here. You guys might lose me in a couple minutes, but I just want to get this point across: is that prior to the Lions turnaround, this job in this town was a shithole as well. Okay, let's not forget that the Lions were mired in a long. They went 0-16. There was a lot of shit going on here, and Campbell came and turned it around.
All you can say,
you got to say the same thing for Chicago. Give him a chance that Ben Johnson can possibly turn around, especially if he's got that Dan Campbell fucking aura inside of him. Who knows? I don't think he's the leader of men that Dan Campbell is, but we'll see.
I agree with you that anything is fucking possible, right? Do I think that this is going to be a train wreck? I don't know yet, but he has saddled himself to live and die with their number 1 pick, right? Their fucking quarterback. It all hinges on his success, right? So he has saddled him to himself, and if he turns into the Caleb Williams that we all thought he could be, maybe Ben Johnson has a shot. But if he goes the way of the dinosaur, he's dead in the water, dude. He will forever be an offensive coordinator on a team like Tennessee or something. He will pillage the college levels, the college ranks of coaching for the rest of his life. But You don't know. It's 50. In my mind, it's 50-50.
Aaron Glenn's the only one that's got that Dan Campbell gangster in him.
Yeah.
We saw it
You're right.
when he walked into the Jets job and said, "Aaron Rodgers, see ya."
Yeah. What
You're
is
right.
more baller than that?
I'm not a Jets fan. I don't even really like the color green, like to wear personally, but I'm gonna be rooting for that guy, man. I'm
Yep.
rooting for Aaron Glenn to win.
Yeah,
Wherever he's
absolutely.
at, I just want him to win. I don't care.
True story to be told, we had the luxury, if you will, of retaining Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson for 1 year longer than we ever had business, right?
Yeah, that's true.
We counted them out and counted them gone last year, both of them. So we got 1 more year. It was a shame that we got so close, but so far away and couldn't do anything with it. But the BDE from Aaron Glenn, man, is something to treasure right now.
Well,
you might,
how about
you
this?
might, you might
Before
lose
your
me real
next
quick
pill
here,
alarm
boys,
goes
just heads
off.
up.
Well, wait.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna
talking.
tap out anyways because I think I'm gonna have to get out of here. And Hitch, if your pill alarm goes off one more time, I feel like I'm gonna have to call the 911 guys.
Call Tracy and say he wandered out of the yard again.
I'll look on the Grosse Point residence page. Come get your Hitch. He's out.
He's sitting on my bench again, just eating my tomatoes. Come
Is
get
your
your
shed
husband.
there? Is it warm?
Yes, it is. It's not balmy in here, but right now,
I'm freezing my dick
57
off right
degrees
now.
in here.
Oh my god, it is so cold.
You mean you don't have a fireplace made out of old train components?
No, I don't have. I'm not a blacksmith. I don't have my forge. My kiln. I don't have my kiln just warming up here in the corner.
Yeah, dude, it's a game changer. I could be out here when it's 13 degrees, negative fucking 13 degrees, and it'll be 50 degrees in here. I'll be forging.
Mark was saying that. Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
Celsius or Fahrenheit.
right.
All right,
doesn't
boys.
matter.
Well, I think this was a top-notch episode. I'm willing to bet this is one of the more higher-rated ones.
Okay, we'll see.
So let's let me see what I
Top
can
it up.
do with not getting us shadow banned and flagged. But I really think this was awesome. I love the energy.
Creative.
Tried to stay on my best behavior, but it was sure good to be back. I missed too much
welcome
of this.
back.
Yeah, we love
Cheers.
having you back, dude. You are the godfather when it comes to this almighty energy that you put off. I mean, this is awesome.
I love the passion.
But even that we're texting last night, and I'm just like, "Ooh, we got to stop talking. Save this for the podcast."
I feel like I was subdued. I'm coming back from flu A. I had a real shit day at work. I feel like I was a little off my game tonight. So let's see. Maybe next Tuesday.
You did good, man.
Next Tuesday, you'll catch me in the upswing, and we'll see what happens.
Beautiful. It was a beautiful thing.
I think you're great.
All right, boys.
Parting thought: everybody, get your kids into golf. Vote Democrat. Let's absorb Canada. Trump's an asshole, so we're good.
Be nice to your border agents. And Hitch, you've got us. What? When do we want to do this draft episode? Do we want to announce it, or do we want to wait on the mock draft episode?
So you got your computer right in front of you there. When is the combine?
Let's do this. Because I know there's a couple guys that have been talking, hey, mock draft. The 27th through the 2nd of March. So we're coming up on it.
All right. So I would think we're going to inevitably talk draft from now till April, but I think if we want to do a big episode similar to what we did in season 1 and 2 of the Fan Forum podcast, I think we do one during the combine. I think we do one after the combine. So we'll pull it together. We'll try to get some of the OGs back on. Try to get my buddy John back on. Do more of a round table.
Yes, like a nice paneled round table. More opinions, more perspectives.
And I think
just
post combine
conversation.
Post combine, I do think we can spend some time doing a full mock draft. It'll go faster than you think, and I think that we go 1 through 32, no trades, and I think that we can learn a lot together about these players by doing that.
I agree.
It's my favorite time of year. I've yet to truly dig in, but I will start digging in and bring the heat with some of these lower first round and second round, third round guys. I think we do a full mock draft episode after the combine. I think during the combine we get on as much as we can and talk about what we're seeing. And I think it'll be a lot of fun.
I like it. Well, I'm all about it.
There's my pill alarming.
Puck up, yeah, welcome to Detroit, the Motor City streets, where the legends rise and the heartbeats meet. Podcast spinning tales of the 313.